YouTube, Facebook, and Tumblr fans, it's time yet again to delve back into my Summer of Discography reviews to review another album by the band Tool. So, this time we are going to be reviewing their 1996 studio album, their second studio album, entitled Enema, or I guess you could pronounce it Ænima, but there's that weird symbol in the beginning. But for this review's sake, I am going to continue pronouncing it Enema, because that's pretty much what I've known it as for however long I've been listening to it. So, to get started, this album has 15 tracks on it, compared to the 10 found on Undertow. However, musically, the songs are very similar. It's almost like they didn't really want to expand on their sound. They just kind of knew a winning formula, and they wanted to stick with it as best as they could. And they did that very well. They pulled it off very well. However, there's not really that much evolution in terms of music. So, I mean, at least even AC/DC changes up their amp settings and their amp tunings and everything, and the production to make it sound a little different. These guys, not so much. And you know what? While I do love the crunch of the guitars, especially in Undertow, as well as in their earlier albums, or earlier EPs, I should say, a little variety would be a little bit nice. So, getting into the album itself, it starts off with the song Stinkfist, which is ironically my favorite song. Right at the start. It's perfect. I like the intro even, and it's kind of got a really atmospheric setting until about, 30, 40 seconds, and then it just kicks off with this really heavy, really crunchy kind of grunge-ish tone, and really kind of just heavy rhythm, I guess. And then it gets into the chorus, which is my favorite part of the song, and it's just a very straightforward kind of roller coaster ride, I should say. Much like the song 46 and 2, which I'll get into a little bit later. Eulogy is the next one, and it's another one of those songs like Stinkfist. I really enjoy it. The guitars and everything, the riff structure, and kind of the grunge and metal fused together just make this song all the much more appealing. So the next one is H, and much the same thing. Like I said, the guitars are really good. I especially like the tone and the structure, and it's just a good song overall. The next is an intro, and it's kind of where the album starts to waver a little bit. This was included for those of you who have the vinyl edition, and it was meant to trick you. So I don't know why they would put it in there, or what the point of that was, I suppose. But it's just a needle scratching on a blank vinyl. Like, it's over, basically. So it's like, why would you want to do that? I mean, what's the point, Especially when, in this day and age, we have CD players and MP3s, iPods, computers, stuff like that, and it's like, we obviously know it's not the end. So, why? I suppose, is what I'm saying. And it leads into 46 and 2, and, it leads into it kind of seamlessly, so I can kind of see why they would maybe do that. And it's not that long of a silence, so I can kind of get over it and, forgive them for it. But, like I said, 46 and 2, my favorite part about it has to be just the structure of it and how it builds up to a roller coaster ride, much like I said on Stinkfist, but this is more of a roller coaster ride because in the beginning, it just starts off with this really cool intro, probably my favorite part of the song itself, and then it just kind of uses that intro in the verse structure until about the 2-minute mark, and then it picks up and gets really heavy for a while, and then it just kind of wavers back down, and then it gets really heavy again, and then it just softens up. So, it is a really, really big roller coaster ride, up and down and up and down. So, it's a really fun listen. One of my favorites on this album. So the next one is called Message to Harry Manback, and this is a really interesting one because it's a recorded phone message by some Italian guy that tried to threaten one of the singer's roommates. So it's really interesting as to why they would put this on here. They recorded the call itself and kind of did something weird when they put piano music to give it kind of that atmospheric setting the mood kind of vibe. And then it begins to kind of go into the next song, which is called, and I shit you not, it is called Hooker with a Penis. Now, this song is aimed at those fans that say the band sold out after 72826 and Opiate. Now, there was a very significant change in the band's musical style in between those albums, Opiate and Undertow. Now, Undertow and this album, not so much, because they're kind of playing the same kind of music, so it's not really that big of a change. But from Opiate to Undertow, it was a significant change. So, I personally wouldn't say the band sold out, but they got a little bit better. I would say it's better, but this is basically, catering to those people who don't really know what selling out means, or as that's what they say. They just loosely use the term selling out, like Metallica sold out, kind of like that, when everyone knows they really didn't. So, that being said, the song itself, I do actually really like it. And it's not one of my favorite songs, but it's one of the heavier tracks on the album, one of the more grungy kind of tracks. And he almost sounds like he's screaming a little bit. Not screaming in terms of like the muffled kind of death growl screaming, much like bands like Killswitch Engage, but more screaming like just kind of aggressive tone, I suppose. But that being said, that's gonna be weird if people actually think this is their favorite song. Like, it's if like a parent asks their child, "Hey, what's your favorite band?" My favorite band is Tool. Dad, what's your favorite song? My favorite song is Hooker with a Penis. No, 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 no. Okay. That would be an interesting scenario that I would pay to see. Not really, though. But the next one is Intermission, and this was an entertaining one. Most people would actually expect, a person like myself to hate this track and kind of criticize the band for including it on this album, as it doesn't fit, it comes out of nowhere, and it's just virtually weird, I suppose. But, I guess that's what the kind of the novelty of it is. It is weird, and it is coming out of nowhere, and it just doesn't fit on this album at all, which makes it kind of entertaining. So it is an intermission. It's about halfway through the set list, and especially if they would have added another song at the end, it would be exactly half. Anyways, Intermission. This is like pipe organ circus style music for about 56 seconds before it gets into Jimmy, another song, another heavy hitter. And like I said, this is one of the more grungy songs on the album, and I really enjoy the singing. I enjoy the vocals, as well as just the structure of the song overall. That was basically what it is. Die Ihr von Satan, this is more of a filler one. Push It is a really good song. Took me a while to get into, especially in the beginning. It's kind of got a slow start, but towards the middle it gets really heavy, and it's really, like I said, grungish, and I did really enjoy it, but it does kind of run on a bit long sometimes. The next is Cesaro Sumability, if I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. And it's another intro of silence. Why the silence? Why? You already did that on Undertow, Tool. Why do you continue to do it here? Actually, they're probably going to do it on Lateralis, and 10,000 Days, so it's kind of beating a dead horse at this point. Next one is the title track, Enema, and I really, really like this song. Probably my second favorite next to Stinkfist, but the intro is my favorite intro that I've heard by Tool so far. It's very grungy and heavy, yet it's bluesy in some weird way. I don't know, I really like it. It reminds me of something that I would hear from maybe Airborne or AC/DC. So, even though Airborne wasn't around back then, I digress. So, I do like the structure and just the singing and the overall just sound of the guitars, as well as the lyrics, which is kind of interesting. But the song is one of my favorites. The next is, of course, Ions, and this is my least favorite because it is a 4-minute song of just silence. Nothing else, just silence. Again, beating a dead horse, so moving on. Third Eye. This is a weird one because, for about half the song, it's 14 minutes almost. It's 14 minutes, but about half the song is just silence. And then it gets into kind of what you would think would be an instrumental because all you hear is guitars. But then, the drums kick in and the bass, and then, Tool is kind of, the singer is kind of singing stuff where you can't really understand it. And it's like, it took that long to get into this. I mean, like, it is appealing to the ear. It is really fun to listen to at that point. But why the long silence stretch? I mean, I'm just asking, like, why? What's the point? So, basically, to sum up this album, in one word, I would say good. It's not my favorite release by Tool. I do like Undertow a little bit better. But, that is to say, I'm going to rate them the same, probably, because they are largely similar in structure and in terms of production, and pretty much everything on here just is very reminiscent of Undertow. So, You know, that's not to say that they're exactly the same, mind you, and that you shouldn't get this album, because they are both very good. But for this day and age, I'm probably going to say, you know, it's just really weird, you know, not growing up with the band and everything. But for the album itself, I'm going to rate it an 8.5 out of 10. It was a decent listen, but I'm looking forward to Lateralus, and I'm probably going to like it better. I've heard Parabola and Schism so far from, like, 2008 or so, and I really do like those songs, so I'm really looking forward to reviewing it. Lateralus, next time. So, with that, 8.5 out of 10. Go buy this album, and, you know, judge for yourself. I want to see what you guys think. So, 8.5 out of 10. This is Midnight Strike 3625, and keep calm and rock on.